Привіт усім! Вітаю вас на Ніна Україна. У нас сьогодні випуск присвячений Квітці Цісик. Квітка Цісик народилась в Америці, її батьки емігрували з України в 49-му році, вона народилась в 53-му році, була тільки раз в Україні в 83-му році. Вона записала 2 альбоми, україномовних альбоми «Де ти тепер» і «Черемшина». Ми сьогодні послухаємо ці пісні. Я думаю, Еріку вони дуже сподобається, бо я не можу просто перестати слухати її всі пісні. Я дуже-дуже захоплена її творчістю. So Kvitka Цісик, she was born in New York City, in Queens, close to New York City, and her parents migrated from the Ukraine to the U.S., from Western Ukraine to the U.S. after the Second World War in 1949, and then she was born in 1953, and she spent her whole life in the U.S. She was learning to play violin and then to be an opera singer, and she was in Ukraine only once in 1983, and she learned Ukrainian from her parents, obviously, and she attended, different local Ukrainian events. In the U.S., she became very popular. Her voice was used by many corporates in the U.S., by Ford, by McDonald's, and others for their advertisements. And one of her songs won an Oscar. She was also helping Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston. She was like vocals sometimes. And then in 80s, she decided to record 2 albums in Ukrainian. She spent her own money to record it, like $200,000, which is a lot of money for that period of time. Yeah. And she employed the best musicians, the best instruments of those times to make those recordings possible. And those 2 albums then were transported to Ukraine, often illegally, because they were forbidden by
what year would that have been?
Late 80s, like 85.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It was still a Soviet state then.
And in the early 90s, after Soviet Union collapsed, there were efforts to invite her, and she was dreaming about coming to Ukraine and give live concerts. But unfortunately, she got breast cancer, and she died. She was struggling with breast cancer for 7 years, and she died in late 90s. So Ukrainians never had a chance to enjoy her live performances. She was born in the U.S., but she was so drawn to Ukrainian culture, Ukrainian music, and she tried to preserve it through those songs, which are very sentimental, very deep, very beautiful, very nice.
I suppose there's a genetic component of having a pull toward a country that you have ancestry in anyway. I think that's probably right. Because I feel that for Germany and especially for Scotland or Britain in general.
And I think particularly her voice is very, you will hear it, but it's very sentimental, very nostalgic. And I think a part of Ukrainian culture is to be like that sometimes, and like to express love and sadness at the same time in a way.
I see what you mean, yeah. Thank you for introducing me to her. Wow, I'm so sad she's not here now.
The next song is about choke cherry, Черемшина. So this is this plant.
It looks similar to some things I've seen here.
If you can read that.
Okay. The choke cherry. Again we can hear the cuckoo in the woods. The swallows their nests do weave beneath the eaves. And the shepherd his flock herds down mountain pathways. Chirps a song, the nightingale in the grove. Everywhere wildly blooms the choke cherry, as if a bride. The Kalina is a berry. Gelder rose or this one. Maybe you can. Viburnum.
So this one.
Viburnum opulus.
Have you heard of either Gelder rose or Viburnum?
No, I haven't.
So this is the red one. It's one of the symbols of Ukraine. That's why they didn't change the name.
Okay. As if a bride, the Kalina is adorned. The shepherds in the orchard, and in a quiet corner awaits a maiden waits. She walked along the reeds into the orchard and had gazed upon the tall mountains, where from the birches falls the pure dew, morning dew. The Kalina's bloom pinned into her braid. Everywhere wildly blooms the choke cherry, as if a bride, the Kalina is adorned. The shepherds in the orchard, and in a quiet corner awaits, a maiden waits. Already behind the bluffs the sun is setting. From the pasture sings to her the shepherd, I will come to you and my flock will be watered and led into their pen. At last it's evening. The sheep stand beside the river. From the Cheremosh, drink in its cold water, and in the orchard meets the shepherd, the young maiden who so dearly loves him.
Sounds so interesting in English, like very different for me. But
Yeah, does it really?
yeah, I mean, I don't know these lyrical words because I don't use them that much in my, common speaking. So it's very unusual for me to, read them.
Yeah, those would be considered archaic or poetic.
This is Ніна Матвієнко, Оксана Муха. They are one of those ladies that continue to sing some of her songs sometimes. So they will try to combine her Kasey Cisyk, Kvitka Цісик singing together with their singing.
Okay.
So it's again in the memory of this singer, Kvitka Цісик.
I see.
Музика Василь Михайлюк, слова Микола Юрійчук.
Знов зозулі чути голос в лісі, настільки гніздечко звили в стрісі, а вівчар жене отару плає, тьохну пісню
listening
It's,
to
yeah,
wow.
me too. It's
That's
just incredible.
Utterly fantastic. Wow, thank you for introducing me to her.
Like I did a video reaction to one of her songs a couple of weeks ago, and as I was preparing the video, I have learned more about her and like opened more of her songs, and I couldn't stop listening to her for like last week. She has a lot of beautiful songs.
Beautiful voice. And, wow, thank you.
No, thank you so much. Дякую вам за перегляд. Якщо вам сподобалося, то залиште, будь ласка, лайк. Також привіт, підписані на канал. Я вас дуже люблю. Ми скоро побачимось з вами у наступних відео. Не хворійте. Па-па, бай-бай. Thank you so much for watching.